Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for showing up here today, and today I am going to show you some of my, personal tips of what I do in my apartment to be a little bit more frugal and a little bit more sustainable. So my game plan is to just kind of take you around to every section of my apartment. It is 380 square feet, so not that big. I think it's pretty big for an apartment. It's in a studio. Just for some context, I am living in Chicago, but I definitely just want to show you that it is so possible, no matter what kind of living situation you're in, to be a little bit more mindful of certain choices that can really be beneficial and helpful. For one, maybe saving a little money, which we all need to do in this day and age, honestly. And also, depending on what your values are, just being able to be a little bit more sustainable and a little bit more better for the environment as well. So, welcome to my home. This is definitely a genuine version of my home. I did not clean up a special or anything like that for you, because I think we need a little bit more realism in our content nowadays, so you do not feel alone if you're a little bit messy. But first, let me just take you to the entryway. So we just came in from the front door. So first things first is just the closet. And there is, to me at least, a lot of clothes. This is all my clothes for the summer, spring season, for the warmer season. I have some other clothes that I have stored that's like winter, super warm, don't need. But my first tip really when it comes to clothes is to have clothes that really actually make sense for you. Basically, I just mean be realistic with your purchases. A lot of people tend to get sold this idea of what you could be or your idealized version of yourself, but it's a clothing ad. So then you're like, I will be who I want to be if I buy this outfit or these clothes or this brand, and it's just not true. Don't fall for the advertising lies that tell you you need certain things to be a certain way, because one, you definitely don't need specific clothes to be a certain way, and two, buying these kinds of clothes is not going to help actually create habits. Secondly, when it comes to my clothes collection, I would say a good 95% of all of these are either bought secondhand or they were given to me. Now, I'm not saying you can never ever buy something new. Don't expect to be perfect with anything. The benefits of getting clothes secondhand instead of new are honestly kind of countless. One, it is so much better financially for your budget. I don't know if you've seen even the prices of some of the clothes at places like even Walmart now. It's just getting so high, and you know the people who are in charge of making those clothes are not getting paid fair still, with it still being such high prices. Also, getting things secondhand combats the huge problem of clothes waste that we have. There is so much clothes waste that just piles and piles of clothes that are just going into landfills. And also, getting things secondhand just makes it a lot more unique. Your outfits are a little bit more interesting. You find really fun things. You also see here that I have a bicycle. So biking has just been something I've been really getting into lately, and I just love being out there, getting the breeze through your hair. You just feel free, you're getting some exercise. But incorporating biking is something that can definitely save a lot. Obviously, different areas have different options for transportation, but being able to bike to get maybe a couple things from the store, or to go to a park, or to just get anywhere that might be close by. One, it can save you a lot on gas, and two, it's really good for you and helps get that workout in while also kind of multitasking by being productive in some way. So the next kind of area is still kind of in the entryway, but it's kind of the area where I keep my keys. I have a little to-do list, and I have a little board. So I just like to keep cards and different memorabilia. For me, it makes much more sense to keep things this way, opposed to maybe people have a box that they put cards in, like birthday cards or anniversary cards, whatever they may get, or something like that. But to me, you can't really enjoy it as much that way, and then it just kind of becomes clutter. So having a board like this really, it becomes art. It becomes something I can see every day and appreciate. But also with this board, something that is both frugal and kind of more sustainable is, I will show you in a little bit, but I did buy a shelf. I didn't buy that shelf used, we're not all perfect, but I had wanted a grid type board for the purpose of putting cards and stuff up. And I was looking on different places trying to find something that I wanted, and then I realized, because I had already bought the shelf, hey, I had extra pieces of that grid shelving left. And then it just clicked for me. It was perfect. All I had to do was take a couple of zip ties and zip them together, and it works so perfectly. So don't be afraid to kind of look through stuff you already have and think maybe that could be used a different way. So I guess just don't be afraid to do a little DIY. You can see this part here, this even came with the shelving that I bought, and it is perfect for holding keys. I was originally thinking about all these different things that I'd want to buy, one being the grid board to hang the cards, two being something to hold my keys, but just thinking about it for a little bit and not splurging right away, not doing the purchase right away, I came up with a solution that not only saved so much money, but saved the shipping, saved the gas that it would take to ship these things. Here's some picture frames with photos I printed myself of me and my husband and cut out myself, that I got these at Goodwill for like 50 cents each. I love them. I love gold frames. And somebody had used them for a wedding. I could tell by what was in them. And they're not perfect, you know. They aren't made to be hung on walls. They're not that kind of frame, but I made it work. You can see kind of if you go on the angle that they come off the wall a little bit, and that could bother some people. You don't have to do everything I do, but it works perfectly well. And it honestly is kind of cool because it kind of is like facing you when you look up. But gold frames, something that I think is still quite popular in trends right now. You can buy them at Walmart, you can buy them at Amazon, and they're definitely not the most expensive thing in the whole world, depending. They do cost money, but also there's tons in circulation now, especially because of the trend. So definitely check out your secondhand stores to find some. Other ways of decorating, that is a painting from my husband's grandmother, and then this is a painting I made myself. So you can always DIY your own decor. Now we're in the kitchen, which is definitely one of my favorite rooms. I guess it's not really a room in the studio. It's kind of like all one area, but I love the kitchen, and the kitchen is such a great place to be able to be more frugal and more sustainable. So there's lots of tips I got in here. One easy one, I wasn't even thinking about this, but I just haven't put them away yet, but making ice. If you're somebody that typically buys bags of ice, I'm not really sure why you do that, because it's very easy to make ice as long as you have water and something to freeze the water in. I got these ones pretty cheap. There's tons of different ones. Definitely just, I would say, don't feel the need to go for the aesthetic ice. Just get an ice tray, whatever you can find. In case you didn't know, ice melts, and fairly quickly, so it's not that big of a deal. Speaking of water too, I use a filter to filter out my water. This is, well, I'm not gonna brand drop because it doesn't matter the brand, honestly. Just make sure it's one that's somewhat reputable. But I filter water instead of buying bottles of water. That is a lot cheaper, and also there's so much plastic water bottles all around. Not only do we not know how that could affect our health with the plastic and drinking from them frequently, but we don't need to put more plastic pollution out there. So filtering water is a great way to be more sustainable. Ooh, yes. Even though now I am in a city apartment, I still make my own things like broth, and it's as easy as anything like the carrot tops and bottoms that you cut off, onion peeling, if you use stuff like celery fairly often, all those kinds of things you can put in a freezer bag to store. And then maybe when you have a rotisserie or you bake a chicken or something like that, if you're doing maybe beef broth and you have beef bones, anything like that is super easy to make broth. But if you save these ingredients, you're not only recycling them to have them be used for something and not just throwing them away, but then you're also saving money because you are making something that is not the most cheap thing. But I have some chicken broth that I bought, and it was definitely cheaper, but still not the cheapest. So anytime you can make your own is great. And this helps cut food waste, which is also a big problem. Speaking of food waste, if you live more in a city specifically too, do not think that you just have to go with the flow, whatever, you're actually in a prime opportunity to find some of these resources. Because things are more densely populated, it's more likely there will be services that people have created, or these different services where there's drop-offs. I know in Chicago specifically, I have looked up before, and I'm actually looking into doing this soon, but there's a service where they come and pick up your compost either every week, every other week, and they go and make beautiful, nice, rich compost that you can grow plants, veggies, all that from your food waste. So companies like that are great to support. If you can't support them, I know there's a lot of options in a lot of places for drop-offs, so food waste drop-offs, as well as recyclable drop-offs, which is, kind of different, but we'll tie it into the same topic. But being more in the habit to separate your different trash components for them to go to different places, to be able to have a better likelihood of not just going to waste, not just going to landfills, but to actually be used and repurposed, I would definitely look into what's available for you in your area. It is also very much possible to have your own compost in an apartment setting. I have done it before back when I lived in Maine, but there I had a balcony, so it was a little bit different. I have been trying to convince my husband to allow me to have a redworm compost inside the apartment, but that has not yet been agreed upon yet, but we're gonna keep trying. It is 100% possible. Just as a side note as well, especially for those who may be living with a partner or kids or anything, just other people, don't let this journey be something that brings tension between you and your loved ones. Have this be something that can be fun, that you can explore together. I come from a very different background from my husband. He is very much a city boy. He didn't even know what compost was, and he didn't even know what a turkey looked like while I was alive. Meanwhile, I grew up in the Maine woods and make everything from scratch and have that kind of personality. So coming together as one has been very fun. But I do just want to throw that tip in there that don't let this be a stressful thing, let this be a fun thing. Speaking of fun, let me show you down here. You gotta be a little clever with space sometimes in different apartment setups, but on this kind of bar area I have in the kitchen, there is some space underneath, and so I have my fruit basket kind of hanging. It's not really a basket, I guess it's a hammock. And this has been a great solution for a nice place to tuck the fruit away that's easy access, that I can see it, not let it go bad, but it's not taking up like a whole section sitting on the island or anything like that. And also is something I made and DIY'd myself, so that felt very accomplishing. It was something that I had crocheted myself, but not only is that kind of a sustainable way to go about things, but I even had to double up the yarn I already had because it just wasn't thick enough already. But instead of taking that as a sign that I should go out and buy new thread, I just doubled it up. And was it a little less convenient? Oh yeah, that wasn't the most fun at first until I found the rhythm. But it ended up working out really well. Oh, another great buy, reusable little baggies. These kinds of like sandwich, freezer baggie type things. They were a new purchase, but something like this can help out so much in areas where you might be tempted to keep buying plastic bags over and over. This is such a better option. I'd look at the different brands because they're not all created equal. I think I got not the highest brand because there's a couple of them that have a little hole in them now after I'd say a few months use, but still far better if you're somebody that stores food in that kind of way often to go ahead and go down that route. Also, I can't say that this was the most frugal purchase of my life. I can't say that. But if you're somebody who, like me, enjoys the little coffee drink in the morning and you'd be inclined to go buy maybe say a Starbucks or something else every day or very frequently, this is a great investment. It doesn't have to be this one specifically, but some kind of coffee machine where you feel good about it, where you don't feel like you're compromising too much on maybe the flavor or the way that it's prepared. It's definitely worth it as like an investment piece, I'd say. I got mine off eBay, like slightly used, so it's a lot cheaper. So definitely look for things like that on eBay, I'd say, or just resell, maybe Facebook Marketplace. but I love her. Okay, we're slowly backing in to the bathroom. Yes, I have a basketball hoop. So, some easy, sustainable, frugal things to think about when it comes to the bathroom is one, how many products are you really using? And then follow up, why? My number one pro tip, which I don't think I need to explain too much, but if you already have something and it's working for you, don't get something else that serves the same purpose until that one's done. You know? Another thing when it comes to something like soaps, body soap specifically, so many people make bar soap locally, so you could check out, first I'd say check out local soap makers. Obviously that's going to be more on the expensive side. One company that me and my husband really like is Lush, so we get a couple of bars of soap from them and it lasts us. We use it all the way through till they're done, and with that we don't have to worry about packaging or anything like that. I'd also highly recommend, instead of frequently getting the different razors, like the plastic razors that are throwaway, or you just replace the heads, definitely I would go with I think it's a safety razor is what it's called, but it's metal and you just replace the blades inside of it. I know you can get them new now, so you just buy that one new one once. This one was actually my grandfather's, which is funny and cute, and I really like that. But yeah, you just replace the blade inside. Or debatably even better than that, you could look into sugar waxing. I just got into that recently, and it's actually, you make it with just a couple ingredients. It's like lemon juice, sugar, and then you have your own wax from just that simple ingredients. And when you're done, you can just put it in your compost. And you can use it so many times over and over before it becomes unusable too. So I definitely look into that as well. The basketball hoop is not necessary, but it is fun. Okay, we're in a random linen closet. So what is my advice through here? Well, let's go down. Good thing I did squat day today. And right here, you will see a giant bucket. This giant bucket is actually filled with my homemade laundry detergent. I made a video about this like literally forever ago, and I don't remember if it's good or not, but it's the same recipe. So if you want to just know the recipe for the laundry detergent, I'm gonna put that somewhere. But yeah, it's still, there's like more than a fourth, less than a third left, and I made that when I first moved in here in February, and now it's April, middle of April. So beginning of February to middle of April, and still have at the very least a fourth left. It lasts, and I do laundry pretty frequently, at least like once or twice a week for sure, multiple loads. So honestly, any kind of products like that you feel comfortable making, I would say give it a try. See if you enjoy how it works. That works definitely really well. I work out, I sweat. I have a husband who has armpits, you know, so. And my husband is also pretty OCD. He is like very neat freak and very like hygiene, which I cannot say the same for myself. Honestly, I'm kind of a little gremlin, but if he's satisfied with it, then it's working. But I would say definitely try different DIY recipes, different things homemade. And if you find that it's either too much time or too much effort or doesn't do things right, it's okay to shelf it and not do things that way, you know? But I'd say it's worth trying. It's worth trying it. That goes for things like laundry detergent like I am making. It could be different soaps for either yourself or like dish soap. But yeah, basically just give things tries, but don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't work out in an idealized way. I think we're getting close to the end. Like I said, my apartment's not humongous, but I do have at least one more thing to show you. So let's come over to the window. Oh, this is a beautiful view. I wasn't going to talk about this, but one thing that is great is utilize the space you have outside too. It'll look different for everybody. It'll look different in every region, but you don't have to have a gym membership or access to specific kinds of things to just enjoy getting outside, walking, running, whatever it may be. Like, I don't know if you saw the first time I showed you, but this is a grave site. Like, this is a full-on cemetery. And some people may say that that's a little weird or creepy, but I love to utilize all those roads that, you know, cars don't go on that frequently to go and get my bike rides in. And let me just say, yes, it's a public cemetery, like it's fine to do that. You wouldn't want to do that on somebody's like private cemetery. But don't let the mindsets of like you don't have this perfect place to do something stop you from doing it and trying to do new things. But I do have to show you one more thing that we have right here. So this is my plant shelf, and this is the shelving I was talking about that I did buy because I wanted to, you know, make a perfect little area for the plants. And then my husband has his record collections that I keep down there. But not only am I building up my collection of house plants, which I am loving, I'm also growing my garden plants. Here's some more on this side. This pumpkin is going crazy, bro. Basically, to make a long story short, because like, who cares, right? But I've moved here to Chicago, and I'm in an apartment environment here. But you bet I am not gonna stop gardening. So the good thing is a lot of places have different community gardens where you can either pay, usually it's not that much for a little plot of public land to garden in. So there's options like that. For me, I'm most likely gonna put them at my husband's grandparents' house. But even in an apartment space, and like I said, this apartment doesn't have a balcony, you can pot up little bits of plants here and there that are not just the house plants, but plants that grow food. I'm already in discussions on how to build a little tower to plant different leafy greens so that we don't have to spend money on things like lettuce, which is way more expensive than it should be for lettuce. And lettuce goes bad so quickly, so if you buy this whole bag and don't use it in like 3 days, you're kind of wasting it. So if you're somebody who enjoys plants at all, or gardening on any level, or even just keeping a succulent like as a house plant, definitely look into options for where you might be able to just like garden a little, like in your home, in your apartment, in your tent, whatever you might be in. If you're concerned about lighting and things like that, this is a beautiful window, but it's actually north facing, so it's not reliable enough for these plants. Also, if you know about gardening, you kind of want the light to be really close to it in these stages especially, or they become something called leggy, where they're like reaching for the light and they become really like tall but not very stiff. So they're more susceptible to just not doing well. But you can get grow lights fairly cheap, and they don't make your electric bill go up crazy either. So I would definitely look into that, but don't fall for the marketing with that either, because lights can be grow lights without even being marketed as such. You definitely don't need to pay a lot of money for grow lights. But yeah, I've been yapping for a while, so I hope you enjoyed this little video. I hope you enjoyed being here with me. This is my first time back to create on YouTube in quite a while, and so I'm definitely rusty and definitely a lot of things have changed. But I really do like sharing just my experiences, also in hopes of us all just be able to be a little bit more conscious with everything we're doing. So if you like this content and would like to see more in the future, please hit subscribe to join this community of like-minded folk. I do hope I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye!